everybody, it is Bobbie and Fred here from Becker Magic, and we are just answering some questions that we often get asked,
right,
and discussing some topics that people that we run into when we're working on cruise ships or around the nation doing land tours. Whenever we get a chance to chit chat with people, they always ask us questions. So we kind of picked like our top 5 or 6 questions that people ask us, and this is us taking the moment to answer one of them, which is, tell us about your experience on Penn Teller Fool Us. What was it like? And this question can take lots of different,
lot of forms, yeah.
lot of different forms, but essentially that's what they're asking. They want us to talk about being on Fool Us.
Yeah, I would say in many ways it was a career highlight, and not just because of being on the television show, but everything about it was first class. The people that run the television show, the producers, and everybody involved, very caring.
Yeah.
And you end up with a team of people that help you put your act on the TV show, and we're still friends with a number of those people. They became...
It was a lot of fun, and really, well, I'll let you talk about, you know, the going on the show, the trick and all of that kind of thing, but just in general, because people are wondering how it works. You know, we flew to Las Vegas and they put us up in a hotel, and then so you practice what you're going to perform. The producers watch, they make some suggestions, and basically they you know, are really supportive. So there's the practice time, and then separate from that, you're meeting with the people who produce the bio package that you see, you know, just sort of the interview, like kind of like we're doing now,
yeah,
where they ask us a lot of questions or tell us to talk about a topic.
What's funny about that is it's 30 seconds long when it makes it on television, or about 30 seconds. 4 hours.
Yeah, you spend a lot of time filming it, and you do a lot of different things. Like if you've watched our Fool Us clip, you see us doing the zip line at the Rio, and
which was actually an afterthought.
Yeah.
We had planned a bunch of stuff, and that was the one that made it was the one that went, hey.
Like we actually, because we're scuba divers, we did a scuba diving segment that did not make the cut for TV, but was a lot of fun.
Yeah, they actually closed the entire pool to the Rio Hotel in Las Vegas. They like blocked it all off, and it was just us and the cameraman in the pool
with our
scuba gear
and
on.
Stuff. So that was really fun. And you know, they just kind of said,
but
hey,
none of that was on TV.
Yeah, bring some props, and we'll just see what we come up with. And so that's kind of what you do. So you spend the time doing the bio package, and then you spend the time practicing. And then for the live taping, you pretty much just have, it's like one run through without Penn Teller, who you never see at all until the actual taping.
Right, it's on purpose. They make sure that Penn Teller have no idea what's coming up. The first time they see
who's on the show.
Is right, because they're friends with a number of people in Magic, so you're kept away from them. They have no idea who's about to walk out on stage in front of them. So it's actually pretty legit.
It's a little scary. It's a lot different than, you know, I don't know why, but for me, it was a lot different than live TV. So you get the one practice run, and then with the
so they know how to film
fake Penn Teller sitting out there, TV camera, so that you're on the actual taping stage at the Rio, and then they're like, okay, now it's your time to perform. They have Penn Teller in there, and you do your actual live performance. And then it's sort of like tunnel, but it got real weird for me because I couldn't hear very well. It was very different sound.
I've almost never seen you nervous, and you were quite nervous.
I was extremely nervous. Well, because it's a I don't know, an avenue, a venue that I'm not. That's not what I'm trying to say. What's the word I'm looking for? You
were a little out of your element.
It's an element that I'm not familiar with, I guess. It's still not the word I'm looking for, but it was. Because they were filming for TV, the sound was different. I didn't know if I could say, hang on, can we start that over again? You know, I didn't know any of that. So we just did it, and then we're like, thanks. And I go, looking back, I wish that I had known. You could say, oh, I'm sorry, can we pause? Because I can't hear or something, but you know, it was still great.
Well, I think we did it.
But talk about, tell them a little bit about, you know, the selection, how that worked, and how we ended up on the show in the first place.
Right. We were actually recruited. We were invited to be on the show, which I don't really know how. One day I get a phone call from the casting director for the show, and this might come out wrong, but Bobbie and I travel on cruise ships internationally most of our careers, so we don't watch television.
We hadn't seen the show. That we had heard of it, and but we hadn't seen it.
So the casting director calls up and said, "Hey, would you like to be on Penn Teller Fool Us?" And he must have heard the hesitation in my voice, because I said, I really had never seen this. And he actually said, "Have you ever watched the show?" And I said, "I apologize, I have not." And so they sent a couple of episodes to me via the internet. So I watched it, and they told me, "Look, this is about putting on a really good magic show."
Yeah.
So
the love letter to magic is what they described it as. So.
And then we said, "Yes, we would like to be on the show." And
the interesting thing about it was, if you saw our episode where we talked about being married to magic, when it came down to it, Fred could have gone on the show by himself and done something obscure that might have fooled Penn and Teller. But instead, we chose to do a grand illusion because Fred wanted to feature both of us.
I literally had my own agenda, and it was not to go on and fool Penn and Teller. Maybe I did fool the show in the sense that I had my own agenda, and it had nothing to do with the contest aspect.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that I went on and did a show with Bobbie as an equal partner. I wanted to be able to show off our style of magic. And keep in mind that I don't make a living entertaining other magicians. There are people that do that. They design their act to fool magicians.
Right.
Magicians they're not my main audience. So instead, I wanted to write an entertaining script, something that would involve both of us and show us off as equal performers on stage. So that was how we went.
We won't get into all the details of how we ended up with the trick that we eventually performed on Fool Us.
But we should talk about our script.
We did go through a couple of different thoughts, and we eventually came up with one that there weren't a lot of in the world at the time. This illusion is still not something that a lot of people perform. And so that was good. So there was that part of us that thought, well, maybe we will fool them, but not really. We didn't really expect it.
It's unique, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Fred wrote this whole script that we practiced and worked really hard on.
We were actually on tour with the illusion, going around different theaters.
We were fortunate enough that we were booked on a tour on land, so we were performing that trick over and over again, practicing, and then we were going to perform it at Penn and Teller. So we were getting our practice in. We were using the script that Fred wrote.
The best laid plans, though.
Yeah, then we're sitting at home, and we had DVR'd all the episodes of Fool Us, and we were watching to see kind of what...
Well, imagine this. We had actually shipped the prop to Las Vegas, and we had a couple of days before we were going to go and tape the show.
Yeah.
And we decided, we should probably actually watch the show.
It started to be more about the bio package. We were like, let's watch the show so that we can see what they do for these bio packages, so we know what to pack and bring with us when we go for the bio.
Right.
And so we're watching, and all of a sudden another magician starts doing not our trick, but it had something to do with our script.
The story was very much the same.
And almost word for word parts of the script he was saying. And
in fact, one part that you wrote yourself like a week before, you're like, what we should do is this. I was like, we should say
this. And then
he said the exact
you were like, that's
thing.
awesome. And we started using it. And then he said it. And we'd never met this magician before. This was on our DVR, so it had already aired weeks before. Not only that.
It had been a year before.
It might have been a year before. And then it was even filmed even before that. So there was no way that, we'd never seen the episode. So it was complete coincidence that we had written a script that this guy was now saying some of the similarities. And
sort of a natural avenue a magician might go down with a presentation, but it was remarkably the same.
We were just sitting there like, with our jaws on the floor, and what we didn't want to have happen was, because I was saying, well, we didn't steal this, we just now watched it, but it didn't matter. At that point, we were due to fly out the next morning to Penn and Teller, and to film Penn and Teller Fool Us, and we had to scrap the entire script. We panicked, we freaked out, we called a friend who'd been on the show, and we said, what do we do? And he said, we kind of said the script we were going on, and he goes, nobody really cares about that anyway. Get rid of it. And he said,
make it about you.
He said, what they care about is you. And so
on drive to the airport.
But this is what happened. While we were watching Fool Us, I was getting annoyed because I was watching these magicians do this, in front of illusions, and then with an assistant,
girl assistant, who at the end would just walk off stage,
get out of the thing, kind of take a bow and walk off. Her name was never mentioned. She was barely acknowledged. It was like, oh, there she goes, and that would be it. And I'm like, wow, they didn't even acknowledge their assistant. It's all about them, and they didn't do anything. And I got so upset. And Fred's like,
that's it.
This is it. So on the way to the airport, we're driving.
We fleshed out almost the entire script.
We wrote the entire script over based on the fact that I'm tired of magicians taking all the credit for what I'm in the box. I'm having to do all the hard work, and you're getting all the credit, and you're doing nothing but magical gestures.
And so on the airplane, I'm typing up the entire script. We're trying to memorize it. Yeah. We have to go and perform the routine in front of the producers of the TV show, and they loved it. They were like, "Boy, that's right on the money." So
sometimes when your plans get interrupted or something doesn't go according to script, it actually works out a lot better. So if you haven't seen our episode of Fool Us, I guess you could put
link to
it, and you could take a peek and see what we did with it.
And now you know the behind the scenes story.
Yeah.
Oh, one other behind the scenes story. I think it can now be told.
Oh, okay.
We needed a stagehand to be part of the performance. Right. And our dear friend Vinny Grosso, who lives in Las Vegas, was handy and was able to rehearse the trick with us, and we were ready to do it with him on stage. And it turns out, Vinny had already fooled Penn Teller.
That's right.
So at the last moment, the producer said, "Oh, you know what? People may recognize him on stage. Is there a way to get somebody else to do his part?"
We said, "No way. He's been practicing with us. We need him."
He knew the ins and outs, and if anything went wrong, he was like, rehearsed.
"You can't. Not at the last minute. No, we need him." So they stuck a black beanie on him, and he pretty much looks like a bank robber.
He looks like a cat burglar.
Cat burglar, yeah.
So when you watch the episode, realize that is our dear friend Vinny, who actually fooled Penn and Teller, and he's out there giving us a hand on our big moment in front of PNT.
That's all from us right now, you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great day.